Good morning, children. Sairam. I hope you all are fine and have done well in your first semester examination. So, children, today in history, we will start with a new lesson. Lesson number 8 Tourism and History, Part 1. And in that, we will be covering the following subtopics, that is, tourism in the past, types of tourism, development of tourism, conservation and preservation of historical places, professional opportunities in the tourism and hospitality industry. Children, today we will start with tourism in the past. Now, children, the tradition of traveling is quite old in India. It is not a new concept. People used to travel for various reasons. Now, children, when you have a vacation, even you plan to go out somewhere. Okay, basically we want to relax from our hectic schedule. So, traveling could be for any reasons. It could be for pilgrimage. It could be to attend any fairs and festivals, in search of a renowned teacher, for good education, for trading purpose. So, children, these are the different reasons for people to travel. So, in brief, from ancient times, people took to traveling for various reasons. Now, children, in India, when we have Kumbh Mela, so many people they attend that fair and festival. So, these are some of the reasons which I had discussed earlier about the reasons for traveling. Okay. Now, children, the Buddhist literature tells that Gautam Buddha he traveled to several cities in ancient India for preaching. Okay, they used to preach Buddhism. So Gautam Buddha he traveled to several cities for preaching Buddhism. And Buddhist monks they were ordained not to stay at one place, but they have to keep on traveling continuously to various places. So they were ordered that they will not stay at one place, and they used to travel continuously to various places, and they used to preach Buddhism. Jain monks, sadhus also used to travel constantly. So they were not allowed to stay at one place. They used to move from one place to another, or used to travel from one place to another for preaching Buddhism. Now, children, Yuan Shuang, the Chinese monk, he traveled to India in 630 CE. So, children, this you have to remember. Yuan Shuang, he was a Chinese monk. Okay, he was a Chinese monk, and he had traveled to India in 630 CE. Okay, and in the medieval period, Saint Namdev, Saint Eknath, Guru Nanak, Ramdas Swami, they traveled extensively in India. So there were various saints. Okay, even they used to travel. That is, we have learnt about the Sant Namdev, Sant Eknath, Guru Nanak. They used to travel. Okay, continuously they used to travel, and they used to teach people. Okay. Then Ramdas Swami, they traveled extensively in India. So children, these all you have to remember. You can get it as a concept map. Okay, so these names you have to remember. Okay. Now children, let us learn about traveler named Benjamin of Tudela. Now children, Benjamin of Tudela is known as the first European traveler. Okay, he was the first European traveler, or you can say discoverer. So you should remember all the names. Okay, so Benjamin of Tudela, he's known as the first European traveler or discoverer. He was born in Spain. During the period of 1159 to 1173 CE, he traveled to France, Germany, Italy, Greece, Syria, Arabia, Egypt, Iraq, Persia, India and China. So he had traveled to so many countries. He maintained diaries of accounts of his travels. Okay, so he used to write everything. Okay, so he maintained diaries of accounts of his travels, and therefore the diaries, you all know that they are very, very important. They are historical documents. So they are viewed as important historical documents. So children, the diary is also, okay, they are very important source of history, okay, though they are historical documents, right? So you have to remember about Benjamin of Tudela. He was the first European traveler, and he has traveled to many countries, okay, and he had maintained these accounts, the travel accounts, in diaries, okay, and they are viewed as important historical documents. Now children, let us learn about Marco Polo. Now children, Marco Polo, the Italian traveler of the 13th century, introduced Asia, especially China, to Europe, and he stayed in China for 17 years. He wrote about the flora and fauna, social life, culture, and trade systems of Asia. So children, Marco Polo, he was an Italian traveler of the 13th century, and he had introduced Asia, that is especially China, to Europe, and he stayed in China for 17 years. He wrote about flora and fauna, social life, culture, and trade systems of Asia. Now let us learn about Ibn Battuta. Now children, Ibn Battuta, the traveler of the 14th century, he took the world on a virtual travel of the Islamic world with his travel accounts, and he was traveling for 30 years, okay. So Ibn Battuta, he was a traveler of 14th century, and he had took the world on a virtual travel of the Islamic world with his travel account, and he was traveling for 30 years, and he had resolved not to travel twice on the same route, okay. So according to him, the travelers, they should not travel twice on the same route, and his accounts are helpful in understanding the medieval history and social life. So Ibn Battuta, he was a traveler of 14th century, and he had took the world on a virtual travel of which world? Islamic world. And he was traveling for 30 years, and he had resolved that not to travel twice on the same route. His accounts are helpful in understanding the medieval history and social life. Now next let us learn about Gerardus Mercator. Now children, Gerardus Mercator of 16th century was a cartographer. Now children, cartographer is the one who makes maps, and he is known for creating world map and globe of the earth. His work proved to be very useful for navigation around the world. So Gerardus Mercator of 16th century was a cartographer, remember that, and he was known for creating a world map and globe of the earth. It was very helpful for navigation around the world. So children, just have a look. He was the one who had created world map, and it was very helpful for navigation, okay. So now these we had learned about some travelers, okay. So now what is tourism? Tourism can be defined as traveling to visit places. We are visiting different places in distant regions for a specific purpose. There's a purpose for traveling, okay. Just I discussed about it could be for pilgrimage, then it could be for education, for trading. So there's a specific purpose for traveling. So tourism can be defined as traveling to visit places in distant regions for a specific purpose. Now children, in the latter half of the 19th century CE, the name of Thomas Cook, children, very important, the name of Thomas Cook is noteworthy in the context of tourism in history, okay. So what is tourism? Now children, tourism is defined as traveling to visit places in distant regions for a specific purpose. So there is a purpose for traveling, and in the latter half of 19th century CE, the name of Thomas Cook is noteworthy in the context of tourism history. So children, just have a look. Thomas Cook and Son, okay. Now children, what he had done, Thomas Cook, he had organized a trip by railway from Leicester to Loughborough for about 600 people, okay. So he had organized a trip by railway from Leicester to Loughborough for about 600 people, okay. And later on, he was successful in organizing a round trip of Europe, okay. Eventually, he established a travel agency selling tourist tickets. So children, first he had organized a trip by railway from Leicester to Loughborough for 600 people, okay. And then later on, he was successful in organizing a round trip of Europe. And eventually, he established a travel agency selling tourist tickets. This early venture of Thomas Cook opened doors for the development of modern tourism. So children, because of this venture of Thomas Cook, it had opened doors for the development of modern tourism. So it is very important. He established a travel agency selling tourist tickets, and it had opened doors for the development of modern tourism. Now children, the tradition of traveling from corner to corner was prevalent in India from ancient times. So children, traveling, as I told you, it is quite old in India, and traveling from corner to corner, it was prevalent in India from ancient times. So here we have to remember about Vishnu Bhat Godse. Now children, he had written down the accounts of his journey from Maharashtra to Ayodhya and back to Maharashtra. So children, you have to remember about Vishnu Bhat Godse, and he had written about the accounts of his journey from Maharashtra to Ayodhya and back to Maharashtra. And it was published in a book entitled Maza Pravas, okay, that is his journey, his experiences, okay. So Vishnu Bhat, he travelled during the times of Indian War of Independence in 1857. He was the eyewitness for many events related to this historical event, and his accounts are full of detailed descriptions about various incidences during this period, especially those about the life of Lakshmi Bai, the Queen of Jhansi. And we also get to know the nature of Marathi language of 18th century, because children, he was an eyewitness to the Indian War of Independence of 1857, and therefore in 1857 we all know about the role of Rani Lakshmi Bai. So it is basically about the life of Rani Lakshmi Bai, the Queen of Jhansi. And also we come to know about the nature of Marathi language of the 18th century. And this book is one of the most important sources of history of that period, okay. So children, so this is about the book, that is Maza Pravas, which is written by Vishnu Bhat Godse, that is his travel accounts, okay, and he was an eyewitness to Indian War of Independence, and this book is very important source of history, okay. So children, today we have done tourism in the past, okay, and we will be continuing in the remaining lesson in the next class. Till then, thank you my dear students. Take care of yourself. Have a good day. Sai Ram.